receive and consider regulations pertaining to construction, maintenance, operation, inspection of trampoline courts. So this is similar to what they do for amusement parks, and I just wanted to let you know a little bit about how serious this is. I had a witness who brought the bill to me, but unfortunately couldn't be here today. He gave me his testimony, and I know that, as an aside, 9 states have started doing this. This is a rapidly evolving amusement operation. And they include Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Tennessee, Colorado, Kansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, etc., and Utah. And I'll just tell you what he said briefly. At the elite levels, trampoline is an Olympic sport, highlighting athletes with incredible strength, control, and gymnastic ability. At the same time, it's dangerous activity with hundreds of thousands of injuries suffered by casual trampoline users each year. Even people who are quite athletic, good shape, like Doug McGuire, I understand he had a very serious injury on a backyard trampoline, not in a trampoline park. But at these parks, or the one that my constituent went to, Larry Altenberg, the participants are asked to sign a waiver relieving the park operator of nearly all responsibility in the case of an injury or death. And the parks provide little to no training or instruction to those participating in open free jumping time. The sense of comfort they provide belies the dangers and risks of injury that are too easily suffered by users. He suffered a pretty serious injury. He was jumping alone, single-person trampoline, when he ruptured his patellar tendons in both knees. He said he wasn't doing anything tricky, he was just jumping. His surgeons, the orthopedic trauma and sports physicians at Inova Fairfax Hospital, told him that they'd only seen these kinds of injuries on elite athletes. He had 6 surgeries, 5 hospitalizations, 3 weeks in a rehab hospital, and had walked on crutches, cane, brace for about only just stopped doing it about 6 months ago. He's been in extensive rehab, disability leave for 24 of the last 36 months, paid $100,000 in medical and home modification expenses, and required home care for 18 months over the past 3 years, with his income, of course, suffering substantially. But this is one of the most troubling things I'm about to tell you, is that when they responded to the 9/11 call to the trampoline park, the Fairfax County Rescue Squad EMTs needed assistance from a fire company to safely remove him from a trampoline. And when they told the dispatcher where they were located, they said, at the usual place in the park. So this is not some isolated incident that one person was injured once who's looking for change to the law for. In fact, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reported in 2014 that there were nearly 286,000 medically treated trampoline injuries, including over 104,000 emergency department visits. American Academy of Pediatrics and American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons both warn against children under 6 using a trampoline. And he spoke to personal injury attorneys about whether there's any kind of case against a trampoline park. They've all indicated that due to the lack of regulation, winning a case against them was nearly impossible. And they do have specific requirements on how they're supposed to be maintained, weight capacities they can support, number of people on a trampoline at one time, and the usable lifespans requiring replacement after a certain period. I think most people here, when they scan their TV, have run across American Ninja Warrior, right? Okay. So, the simplest way that I think about it, I've not been to a trampoline park, is they don't have, if you're going to be near a concrete spot, they have a net or padding, that sort of thing. If you go in one of those pits where they have like what looks like lots of tiny sponges, that's more than 2 inches deep if you're tall. Vertical barriers, dismount areas that are padded, that sort of thing. So these would be standards. We're not trying to prescribe in the law what the standards are. We're just trying to say, same people who set them for amusement parks in Virginia would have that that responsibility that could be of whatever level they deem fit. So with that, that's the bill, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Any members? Chairman Dees.
Thanks. Senator, I know that there are a lot of injuries on trampolines throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the nation. Now, a lot of those happen in people's backyards. Are you suggesting that now the state government should issue any kind of oversight of those types of trampolines?
No, not at all. what I'm suggesting is that there's this rapidly growing centers called trampoline parks or trampoline courts. And I spoke in the other body. There were people who said they had a lot of kids in their families who did this, and it just needs to. You just want to make sure when using a public accommodation like that, that certain reasonable steps have been taken.
Mr. Chairman, are you referring to something like Sky Zone? Are you familiar with that? Or
I've never been
these
to one.
public parks? You refer to parks, but the bill refers to trampoline courts.
Yeah, that's the wording they came up with. The International Association of Trampoline Parks supports regulations themselves through certain standards. I'm not familiar with Sky Zone, but I guess if they have multiple trampolines for profit in a large facility, that would be what we're after.
Mr. Chairman, do you define this in the bill? I mean, I'm not defining it.
No, I think it's pretty. It says inspection of amusement devices known as trampoline courts, which I think implies multiple trampolines. But I'm open to defining if you want to. But since the bill is just calling for regulation, I'd rather leave that to the board that would do this. I don't think that we should be that prescriptive in the bill, but I'm open to that.
Mr. Chairman, what is the interface between these regulations, if they're developed, and the local governing bodies, authorities to, have and issue conditional use permits for these, or special exceptions, or depending on what the building inspectors would already do regarding operations of these types of things locally?
Well, that's why the Board of Housing and Community Development would be doing this, in case there would be any interface between that. But there's an association, not an association, a group in Virginia that asked me to change this bill to that board, and I don't know if they're here. Joel, do you want to? I can't tell you the interface. Maybe you can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, Joel Andrus, representing the Virginia Building Code Officials Association. Delegate Pease, I don't know if I can answer your question directly, but as I understand the bill, it would direct the Department of Housing and Development to look at regulations and figure out where they might be able to go in the upcoming code cycle. I think it might fit into the amusement section. I wish Ron Clements was here. He could probably answer it a little bit better than I could. But as far as the interaction between conditional use and those types of things, I can't answer that question.
Mr. Chairman, is there anybody from the Board of Housing and Community Development here that could speak to what they can or can't do, or their thoughts on this matter? Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm just very concerned about the breadth of this and the lack of definition. And I'm not sure whether it might just not be better to have a letter to the board or even to the Housing Commission to maybe take a look at it.
Well, I would. I'm sorry, if I might.
Please.
I understand that there's a regulatory cycle about to begin. What this would do is just ensure that it's included amongst it.
Thanks, sir. Any members have any questions for the patron?
Mr. Chairman.
Talk about.
Senator, I guess my concern is we're talking about regulations pertaining to construction, maintenance, operation, inspection, and then we're discussing injuries that result from the use of these trampoline courts. Is there any way to determine, or is there any data that suggests the construction, maintenance, operation, and inspection lead to these injuries, or are most of those injuries the result of poor trampoline skills?
Well,
And if so, then I don't know how we fix that.
I don't know a lot about Elliot McGuire's athletic ability. I know he was a Navy SEAL, and that he seems to be in good shape, or I'm presuming he's physically fit, and that it happened to him. So maybe amateurs do have not as good skills, but the point is that if you don't have the right kind of padding, dismounts, safety next to a retaining wall, or the inspection of older ones that I don't know enough about the springy netting underneath that keeps things doing what trampolines are supposed to do. This is really a pretty simple thing. The regulations, I'm not saying what they should be, just make something that would fit perhaps with the International Association of Trampoline Parks that asks that people, they recommend those standards.
follow up, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, Doug,
I'm trying to understand how you could build a trampoline court without some of these things being addressed at the local level.
Well, we don't give local authority to do those regulations, to my knowledge. And it seems to me if we have a state agency that deals with amusement parks with standard regulations, that they could take a look better at it than having, Alexandria come up with one patchwork of regulations that may be onerous or not. Arlen to do something that's less prescriptive. I think we want a certain level of safety assurance, not guaranteed, just that operators are doing proper padding and these other things that the association recommends.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman Dees?
I move to PBI Senate Bill 1229. I'll speak to the motion. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I appreciate Senator Evans' concerns on this matter. I got a head nod from the audience. I'd certainly be willing to work with them, with the Housing Commission. I do serve on that and explore this further. So with that, stand by the motion if there's a second.
Motion, and we need a second. Second. Motion is PBI, second, 2 minutes. Members shall vote. Any member that voted, okay, we, motion to PBI, passes by a vote of 4 to 3.
Is there a chance you'd be able to send a letter to the Housing Commission asking them to look at this and?
Mr. Chairman, we have a running list of all the bills
Great.
in that regard. So
Okay, well, I thank the committee for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Next up on the queue, Senator Newman.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. I have Senate Bill 1219. This bill's gone through a couple of iterations. It comes out of a concern that the contractors in our area were told that they're not allowed to have multiple people set for the contractor's license. As you can imagine, that's problematic if you have someone that leaves and now you don't have anybody that's prepared to step in, especially a smaller business. The other one is just to make sure that there's a proper time whereby if you lose your primary person with the license, that there's proper time to allow that next person to get into line. Mr. Chairman, we had started out with a bill, but we just determined that we would enact this and request that D4 do it through regulation. That's a bill, sir.
Thank you, Senator. Does any members have a question